I never imagined the woman I loved could destroy my life in silence while smiling at me every morning. The rain was hammering the roof that Tuesday evening like it was trying to drown out the sound of my own heartbeat. But nothing could cover the sickening thud when I opened the envelope and saw the final balance staring back at me. $47.82. That was all that remained of the $150,000 we had scraped, sacrificed, and celebrated together for our future home. My knees buckled. I gripped the edge of the kitchen island so hard my knuckles turned bone white, breath coming in shallow, ragged bursts as the room tilted. The lavender candle she always lit when she wanted to set the mood was still burning, mocking me with its calm vanilla scent while acid burned up my throat. But that was just the start. Earlier that day, I'd finally cracked her phone passcode, something I'd never done before, but the suspicions had gnawed at me like termites in the walls. There they were, messages she thought I'd never see, late-night texts laced with flirting, heart emojis, plans to meet at seedy motels. "Can't wait to feel your hands on me again," she'd written to Mark. And the photos, her in lingerie I didn't recognize, pressed against him in a dimly lit bar, lips locked, his hand possessively on her thigh. I felt my stomach drop, so low it could have swallowed the kitchen floor. Sarah, my Sarah, hadn't just quietly bled our dream dry to pay her ex-husband's gambling debts. She'd been sleeping with him too, transferring every cent behind my back while I kissed her goodbye each morning and told her I loved her. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, drop the word loyalty in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. The betrayal didn't explode all at once. It crept in like black mold behind perfect paint. I started noticing the tiny fractures months earlier. She would disappear into the guest bathroom with her phone for 20 minutes at a time, the door locked, water running to mask her voice. I'd catch fragments when I passed. "Just one more time, Mark, I swear," and I'd tell myself it was concern for Emily's father, nothing more. I wanted to believe it so badly that I ignored the way her eyes darted away when I asked about her savings app balance, the way she changed the subject whenever I pulled up house listings on my laptop, or how she'd come home with her hair slightly mussed, lipstick faded, carrying the faint, musky scent of another man's cologne mixed with her own perfume. One night, I woke at 3:17 a.m. to find her side of the bed empty, the sheets still warm from her body. I padded down the hallway, bare feet silent on the cold hardwood, and saw the blue glow under the office door. Through the crack I watched her hunched over the screen, typing furiously, then deleting, then typing again. Her face illuminated in that ghostly light, a small smile playing on her lips as she hit send. When she finally came back to bed, she slid under the covers and pressed her cold feet against my calves like nothing had happened, her skin still carrying a hint of sweat that wasn't from any workout I knew about. I lay there wide awake, staring at the ceiling, remembering the summer we painted Emily's room together. How Sarah laughed so hard paint splattered her nose, how she kissed me with turquoise on her lips and whispered, "This is forever, John." That memory used to warm me. Now it felt like swallowing glass, sharp edges catching in my throat with every breath. The bank statement was the kill shot, but the messages and photos made it personal, twisting the knife deeper. I sat at the kitchen table long after she'd gone to bed, scrolling through 6 months of transfers labeled miscellaneous family support. Each one landed in an account tied to Mark. $8,000, $15,000, $22,000. The dates lined up perfectly with the night she claimed she had late inventory at the boutique, the weekend she said she was visiting her sister, but came home smelling faintly of cigarette smoke, Mark's brand, and sometimes with a faint bruise on her neck she'd blame on a clumsy necklace clasp. My hands shook so violently I could barely hold the phone when I cross-referenced the routing numbers. Confirmation emails from the bank sat in her hidden folder like trophies, right next to the explicit selfies she'd sent him. I felt my ribcage contract like someone had reached inside and was slowly squeezing my heart until it bruised, the thunder outside echoing the storm raging in my chest. When I finally confronted her, I didn't yell. I laid the printouts across the dining table like autopsy photos, the bank transfers, the text threads, the damning photos printed in Cricolor, and waited. She walked in humming, kicked off her shoes, then froze when she saw my face. The color drained from her cheeks in seconds, but instead of crumbling, she recovered with a speed that chilled me. "Explain," I said. "One word. Quiet." She glanced at the papers, then back at me, her lips curling into a smirk. "Oh, that? The money? I just gave it where it mattered. Mark needed it more than your little dream house. You're so dramatic, John. Always thinking you own everything. Like my body, my choices. You're pathetic, really, clinging to this perfect family fantasy when you know deep down you're just a placeholder." She laughed then, a sharp, mocking bark that echoed off the walls, her eyes glittering with something close to triumph. "And those messages, photos? Come on, it was just fun. You've been so boring lately. Work, Emily, repeat. Mark makes me feel alive. You wouldn't understand passion if it slapped you." I felt the air leave my lungs, the words landing like punches to the gut, each one laced with the salt of 12 years of my devotion. "Our home, our daughter's future. You traded it for him, and cheated on us both." She shrugged, one shoulder, casual, cruel, her nails tapping idly on the table. "Emily needs her real father alive more than she needs another big house. And let's be honest, you're not a real father. You're just convenient. A wallet with a heartbeat." The room went silent, except for the rain pelting the windows like accusing fingers. I stood there, 38 years old, feeling like a child who'd just been told Santa wasn't real. Only worse, because this wound was bleeding from someone I still loved despite everything. The thunder rumbling low like a growl in the distance. I didn't cry in front of her. I simply nodded once, gathered the papers, and walked upstairs, my footsteps heavy on the creaking stairs. She called after me, her voice shifting to a whine. "John, wait. We can fix this." But the door closed softly behind me, and for the first time in 12 years, I locked it with a quiet click that felt final. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of the guest bed replaying every tender moment we'd ever had, watching them curdle into lies. The way she used to trace circles on my back after sex, her fingers warm and teasing. The way she cried happy tears when I proposed on that cliff in Maine. The salt spray misting our faces as the waves crashed below. All of it poisoned now, tainted by the images of her with him. My chest ached so badly I pressed my fist against my sternum, half convinced I was having a heart attack. I wasn't. It was just grief wearing steel-toed boots, kicking harder with every gust of wind rattling the shutters. If you've ever had someone you trusted betray you silently, drop where you're watching from and subscribe. This is going to get intense. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I planned. I smiled inwardly as I transferred my wages to the new account, imagining the moment she realized the house wasn't hers. She had no idea. Not yet. I let her chatter on about her plans while I laid the chessboard in silence, each move calculated like a cool breeze cutting through the summer heat. First, I moved my direct deposit to a new account she knew nothing about, the soft beep of confirmation on my laptop sending a quiet thrill through me. Then I met with a divorce attorney in a coffee shop 2 towns over, paid cash for the consultation. The bitter steam from my black coffee rising as he explained how marital waste and dissipation of assets could turn her secret transfers into a legal hammer. I documented everything, screenshots, timestamps, call logs I'd quietly pulled from our shared phone plan, my fingers steady on the keyboard despite the adrenaline humming in my veins. While she thought we were in counseling and working on trust, I was quietly exercising the rent-to-own clause on our current house, using a bridge loan against my untouched 401k. The closing happened on a Thursday afternoon, the pen gliding smoothly across the papers under the fluorescent lights of the title office. I signed a loan. The keys were mine by Friday morning, cool metal in my palm like a promise kept. I let her believe we were still on the same team. I cooked dinner, the sizzle of onions in the pan masking my detachment. I asked about her day, nodding as she spoke, all while plotting the next step in my mind. I even let her initiate sex once. Mechanical, eyes open, staring at the ceiling while she whispered how much she loved me, her breath hot against my ear. I set it back because the lie protected my timeline, but inside, I felt a calm satisfaction, like watching storm clouds gather from a safe distance. The first crack in her world came when Mark started calling her in hysterics. The IRS had flagged as unreported gambling income. Anonymous tip, of course, and liens were stacking up. She tried to hide the panic, but I saw it in the way she gripped her phone, knuckles white, the way her voice pitched higher when she stepped outside to take his calls, the screen door creaking shut behind her. I watched from the kitchen window as she paced the backyard, gesturing wildly under the overcast sky, then sank onto the grass and cried into her hands, the damp earth staining her knees. I felt nothing but calm, a quiet thrill bubbling up like the fizz of a freshly opened soda. Then the papers arrived. I had the process server deliver them to her boutique during the Saturday rush, the bell above the door jingling cheerfully amid the chaos. She called me 20 minutes later, a voice shaking so badly I could barely understand her, the background noise of customers fading as she retreated to the back room. "John, divorce? You're actually doing this? You already made the choice," I said evenly, my voice steady as the rain that had finally cleared to a crisp blue sky. "I'm just formalizing it." She tried everything. Tears, guilt trips, threats to tell Emily I was abandoning her, even showing up at my sister's house begging for intervention, her car screeching to a halt in the driveway. My sister texted me later. "She's a mess. Screaming that you're heartless." I told her to leave. Friends who once invited us to barbecues now texted me privately. "We believe you, man." She lied to all of us, their messages popping up with soft chimes on my phone. The house sold in 11 days. Cash buyer, above asking. I cleared the mortgage, paid off the small personal debts she'd quietly racked up on credit cards in both our names, and banked the rest. The wire transfer confirmation humming through my email like a victory lap. When she finally realized the house we'd been saving for no longer existed, she showed up at the new rental I'd quietly secured. Small, clean, mine alone, the gravel crunching under her tires in the twilight. She pounded on the door until the neighbor threatened to call the police, her fists thudding like desperate heartbeats. I opened it. Her mascara had run into dark rivers down her cheeks. Hair wild, tangled from frantic hands. Eyes swollen, red-rimmed from hours of tears. Her voice broke immediately, a hoarse whisper carried on the cool, evening breeze. "Please," she begged, her knees hitting the welcome mat with a soft thud. Fingers clawing at my jeans, nails digging in like she could hold on forever. She sobbed, mascara running rivers down her cheeks, voice breaking into hiccups. "I'll do anything. Just don't leave me like this. I was wrong, so wrong. I'll change, I swear. I'll cut him off. I'll pay you back anything." I looked at her, the woman who once held my heart in her hands, and felt only quiet distance, the arrogance that had defined her now shattered into pitiful fragments. "You left first," I said calmly, firmly, unshaken, my hand steady on the doorknob. "The moment you chose him over us." She clutched harder, her sobs turning to wails that echoed down the quiet street, her body trembling against the chill. "I love you. I still love you. Please, John, don't do this." I stepped back. "You love what I could give you. That's not the same." I closed the door, softly, gently, permanently, and listened to her wail fade down the driveway, the sound swallowed by the gathering dusk. Emily still comes over every other weekend. She's angry at her mom, confused, but she hugs me tighter now, her small arms wrapping around my waist with a fierceness that mends something inside me. We watch old sci-fi movies, the popcorn crunching between us, and build model rockets in the backyard, the whoosh of launch filling the air with excitement. She calls me Dad without hesitation, her laughter light and genuine. Sarah texts sometimes, long paragraphs of apology, promises of change, her desperation seeping through the screen in endless notifications. I read the first few, feeling a flicker of old pity, then stopped opening them, letting them stack up unread like forgotten mail. Mark's life is imploding. Collection agencies are circling, his calls to her now frantic pleas for help that she can't provide. I hear fragments through Emily, his car repossessed, his apartment evicted, and feel no satisfaction, only relief that the storm has finally passed over someone else's roof, the sun breaking through on mine. These days I wake up to birds instead of tension, their chirps filtering through the open window like a gentle alarm. I brew coffee at dawn, the rich aroma filling the small kitchen, sit on the small patio with my sketchbook, something I hadn't touched since college, the pencil scratching softly against paper, and draw whatever comes to mind. Trees swaying in the breeze, faces from memory, futures bright and unburdened. The quiet is no longer empty. It's mine, textured with the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of traffic. Sometimes I think about that rainy Tuesday, the bank statement, the messages that shattered everything, the thunder that mirrored my rage. Sometimes I wonder if she'll ever truly understand the depth of what she lost. Her arrogance crumbled to dust. But I've learned that peace tastes sweeter than revenge ever could. Warm like sunlight on skin, enduring like the roots of an old oak. If you felt the pain or satisfaction of betrayal and revenge, subscribe for more stories like this.